To all the non-believers, 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 non-believers. I'm making non-believers.
What's up, y'all? This is Jay Varsity, and welcome to episode 101 of NBA Talk, Playoff Edition. Now, I know it's been a few days, and I didn't put out videos on the game twos and the game threes, whatever I missed, and I'm ashamed of that. I missed a few days with I wanted to talk so badly about that great Luka game winner yesterday, but things got caught up. I got very busy, and I was so pissed off that I couldn't do that, and I couldn't talk. I couldn't. I had a whole bunch of jokes about playoff P, but then now they're gonna be played out. So, nah, I'm not even gonna do it. But also, I was gonna talk about how OKC finally won a game, but now they tied the series. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. So, by the way, I hope you guys are doing good. Hope I hope you're enjoying this playoff so far, man. These playoffs so far, it's been living up to that. The West was going to be more competitive, and the East, it will the East matchups are not kind of living up to the hypes that they were supposed to be getting. But yeah, let's get on. Let's get on with yesterday's matchups. Yesterday at 1:30, we had the Bucks and the Magic. I'm pretty sure people already know the Bucks had this game, even though they're slightly having to pull these wins away in a lot tougher situations against the Magic than they're supposed to. But other than that, the Bucks did and took care of business. They took care of business, and they did what they had to do. Now they're up 3-1. Giannis, I believe, gave a 30-20 game. Offensively, the Bucks they're still there, but now is like their strategy defensively of giving up so many threes is starting to actually come into play, because the Orlando Magic in this series alone, they've hit a lot of three-pointers in this series, and you're starting to see how that strategy might come back to bite them if they keep playing like this, especially against their second round opponent waiting for them. My my heartfelt team, the Miami Heat. Oh, but first, before we get into that, I'm I'm very happy that OKC was able to tie the series, and it's just been a dogfight in each game. The last two games have been dogfights between OKC and the Rockets, but I just can't help the fact that because Westbrook is not playing, I don't even think the series would be like this, because I think Westbrook is just too much of an energy guy for the Oklahoma City Thunder to handle, because and then the Rockets, they just went backwards. They were hitting at a high clip in the first two games. Well, not even at a high clip, but they were hitting more threes in the first two games, and then they just all of a sudden they just been giving up leads. They gave up a 15-point lead in game 4, and it was like they just couldn't hit anything. And this is where living and dying by the three is gonna come back to bite them when you're playing against a team that's constantly wanting to come back at you, which OKC does. Chris Paul encourages that team to fight back, and that's what they did. They attacked the paint. And since they saw how much it was exhausting the Rockets to shoot so many threes on the defensive end, it just left the Rockets vulnerable, and Chris Paul just kept attacking James Harden. He kept attacking the mid range. He attacked the paint. They were just driving in for layups, and it was like, it's like the phrase says, you live by the three, you die by the three. Because I think even Dennis Schroeder came in the fourth quarter, and he was just hitting threes and just he was just getting shot after shot off, and it just killed Houston. And then it was still a really close game. It's not like they got blown out. And Harden passes it to PJ Tucker in his favorite spot. It's the only spot that PJ Tucker shoots from Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. The odds of PJ Tucker missing a wide open corner three, which is his favorite shot, is, to me, I've never seen that man miss that shot. And the fact that I saw him miss that to tie the game in the closing seconds, that was a shock to me. That was a shock to me. I've never seen that man miss a corner three. I've never seen that man miss corner threes. That's like the only shot that he takes other than maybe layups and dunks. But OKC, they managed to tie the series. We got a good one, but I'm just waiting, and this just feels so weird. It feels weird to say that we're watching the NBA playoffs and Russell Westbrook hasn't played a single game yet. God, what is going on with him right now, man? What is going on with him? But now let's get on with the Heat and the Pacers. First of all, let's just make one thing clear. We already know the Heat completed the sweep. The Heat completed the sweep against Indiana. And Indiana, this is the 5th straight year that they're eliminated in the first round. This is the 5th straight year that they're being eliminated in the first round. And this is probably the 2nd consecutive sweep that they're a part of, because they got swept by the Celtics last year, and now they get swept by Miami. Miami, even with Jimmy Butler banged up, were able to still pull out a win. To me, and then this upcoming matchup against Milwaukee, because you know Milwaukee's going to win the series against Orlando. I think Miami is a very formidable opponent to play against Milwaukee. I think they're a really great matchup for Milwaukee, but I think Miami has the one edge that they have to actually take down Milwaukee, and it's their three-point shooting. You can't doubt Miami's three-point shooting is just on that level right now. With guys like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, even Andre Iguodala hitting three-pointers, Jimmy Butler hitting three-pointers, Kelly Olynyk hitting three-pointers, Goran Dragic hitting three-pointers. This is one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. People forget that the Miami Heat are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. And the fact that they're playing against the Milwaukee Bucks, and the fact that they rely so much on in the paint defense, and they're willing to give up so many threes. And the Miami Heat defense is just so swarming. Miami's defense is swarming, which is why I don't think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be very comfortable playing against this Miami Heat team. You got a dog in Jimmy Butler as a leader that's going to want these guys to go at the Bucks. And Miami has a winning record against Milwaukee. They have a winning record, and they've held Giannis to 13 points, I think, in one of those games. Bam Adebayo actually does a pretty good job against Giannis. Now, like they said, that was a regular season. Now we're talking playoffs. But I still think Miami is going to give the Milwaukee Bucks a run for their money. I think they're going to give them a big old punch in the mouth in game one when they're done with Orlando. But that's just me. I'm a Heat fan, and I just want to see them compete. I want to see them compete. But who knows after that? Oh man. But before I talk about this last game, we got to talk about the upcoming matchup between the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics. I put up a poll on my Instagram saying who I thought was going to win the series, and I had people tell me the Celtics were going to win. I honestly believe the Toronto Raptors are going to win, because to me, the depth of the Toronto Raptors is going to be too much for the Celtics, because you got guys like Kyle Lowry, you got guys like Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol. Then you got Chris Boucher, OG Anunoby. To me, people forget this is the defending champions, but this is a very well coached team, especially on the defensive end. Which is the one thing I'll give Boston is Boston has a lot of players that could get their own buckets, but at the same time, I just think the depth of the Boston Celtics is not enough. Their depth is not enough to take down the Toronto Raptors. That's just in my opinion. I just personally think the Toronto Raptors, they're just gonna be way too physical. The Celtics are gonna get way too uncomfortable, and they're not gonna be getting those open looks like they did with the Sixers. They're not gonna get those looks. Because against the Sixers, I'm gonna be honest with you, the Sixers showed no life throughout the entire series. They showed absolutely no life. The Boston Celtics, they were doing whatever they wanted. If they wanted to shoot threes all night, they would shoot threes all night. If they wanted to go to the paint, they would go to the paint. It's just they showed no fight, and that's not gonna happen with the Toronto Raptors. I personally think the Toronto Raptors are gonna be in their face the entire series. I just personally believe that. They're not gonna just let Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or Kemba Walker come in and they're just gonna do whatever the hell they want. And to me, I got Toronto. I have Toronto. I have Toronto in 6. I originally said before when I wasn't recording, I was gonna say Toronto in 7, but I just think personally that even though I don't like the Boston Celtics, I give them credit. I give them credit where credit is due. They're a very tough team, but I just don't think that they're formidable enough to take down the Toronto Raptors, and I think Toronto's going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. So unless Jason Tatum just comes out of nowhere and just has a superhuman performance and just averages 40 throughout the entire series, and then Toronto just forgets how to play defense, then that's the only way I think that Boston's gonna win the series. Boston would have to be as efficient as hell against this Raptors team, because the Raptors play very good perimeter defense, and they defend the paint very well. So that that's that matchup. But again, before we get on to what happened in the last game, can we just talk about that Utah Denver series real quick? I know I picked Denver in 6, but wow, am I happy as hell to be wrong right now? Because Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley are really making me look like a fool right now, and I'm actually kind of glad, because I'm I'm kind of glad, because you're seeing this Utah Jazz team. Actually, they're actually a really good 3-point shooting team right now. They're on a roll right now, and I think, and honestly, this smells trouble. This smells trouble for the Clippers if they manage to get past the Dallas Mavericks, which they're starting to look like they're in a really tough dogfight with. They're in a really tough dogfight with the Mavericks right now, and to get past them, and then you most likely are gonna have to play this red hot Utah Jazz team where Donovan Mitchell is already put up 250-point games in this playoff run. If we're talking that they got to play the Clippers in the second round and they barely get by the Mavericks, whoa, I don't know. I really don't know, because this Clippers team has really been struggling. This Clippers team has really been struggling, and their defense has not been on par with what people thought it was going to be. People were really hyping up this Clippers team to be this highly efficient defensive team, and now I know people are going to bring up the Patrick Beverley thing, and I really don't care. I really don't care. I've been hearing from a certain Clipper fan all these excuses over and over and over and over again. The fact of the matter is you're tied 2-2 with the Mavericks. I really don't care what you got to say at this point. But yeah, this Utah Jazz team, they're looking very, very dangerous right now. And if they got to match up with the Clippers with the way Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell and even Jordan Clarkson, the way this whole Utah Jazz team is just working offensively, it's going to be a tough series for whoever they play in the second round, because I'm starting to actually feel hope that the Mavericks might actually win the series, because they're not scared of the Clippers. They're really not scared of the Clippers. And it's just, you're really seeing it in the Dallas Mavericks. They really want to beat the Clippers. Like, you see how sometimes the Clippers look lost sometimes because they try to instill that intimidation into the Dallas Mavericks, and they're just not backing down. They're fighting. They're playing their game. They're playing their offense. Luka is not afraid of the Clippers, and neither is Porzingis. They want to beat this team because this team talks so much trash. The Clippers talk so much trash, but then when they lose, they're so damn quiet. It's not even funny. And then you got the way Paul George is playing, and you got. I saw last night that there was a petition that people want Paul George to go play overseas. There's a petition going around, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it on Instagram if you follow any basketball page, that they want Paul George to go play overseas. If that is not the biggest troll I've ever seen in my life, because, I mean, come on. I understand he's had 3 bad games, but come on, you're petitioning for the man to go play overseas? Jesus Christ. I understand he only put up 9 points in 45 minutes of a playoff game, but damn. Wow. It's like, I truly can't believe that, man. I really couldn't believe that. But yeah. I can't stop laughing about that for a second. You're gonna have to excuse me for a second. I understand Clipper fans have been taking a lot of trolling lately, but even Clipper fans themselves are trolling Paul George. Even Clipper fans themselves, they're trolling the hell out of Paul George. Like, Jesus, you talk about playoff P. That's the one thing Charles Barkley actually got right. You can't call yourself playoff P and lose all the time. Like, you're playing like hot garbage. But I don't know. I think Paul George might be due for a performance. I don't know how great of a performance, but I honestly think because of this Dallas Mavericks team, it's going to be a very tough Game 5. And I'm honestly, because the Dallas Mavericks are the underdogs, I find myself rooting for the Mavericks, even though I've had a hatred for the Mavericks for so long after watching them watching me as a Heat fan. They damn near took my soul in 2011, and that I grew a hatred for that team. But how can you hate Luka Doncic, man? I just can't find what you can hate about Luka Doncic. He's just so fun to watch, and you just love that competitive spirit that he has, and he wants to go at everybody. He's not scared of anybody. I just love seeing that. I just love seeing that, and that's why I kind of low key I'm rooting for this Mavericks team. Like, I want to see them beat the Clippers, but I don't know if I actually give them a legit shot. We just gotta see what happens. I hope the Mavericks win. I really do. I want to see this overrated Clipper team that's not consistent as hell. I want to see them go down. This whole Battle of LA thing that's going around that people think is automatically going to happen, and you're starting to see the Clippers, they're falling apart. They fall apart. And if Paul George is the reason why you're not going to have the Battle of LA, then go ahead, blame Paul George. But I'm honestly going to say I blame that you guys are not consistent. I've been saying it, and I know a lot of other people are saying it. I know people from other basketball channels are going to say the same thing. The Clippers are the least consistent team in the NBA. They're not consistent. And I don't care how much hate I get for it. I really don't. I really don't care how much hate I get for saying that. But that's enough. That's enough Clippers Mavericks talk. That's enough of that. Now we're gonna get on to the final game. We're gonna get on to the final game of last night. As you remember, yesterday was Mamba Day. So the Lakers Blazers game, which was game 4, after LeBron took their souls in game 3, I didn't know what to expect in game 4. The Lakers had the Black Mamba jerseys and everything, and I could only put it in this sense: that was an ass kicking. That was an ass kicking. Like they were, like, no doubt about it. That was an ass kicking. Like, how do you start the game off on a 15-0 run? How do you start the game off on a 15-0 run? How is it that the Lakers put up 43 points in the first quarter? 43 points in the first quarter. The Portland Trail Blazers died. I'm sorry. They officially died. Like, they officially died. This series is over. It is a wrap. The one game that the Blazers won, it was like that was all they had left. Like, I remember putting on my Instagram after the Lakers lost game 1. And I said the next morning, I'm glad the Lakers lost game 1 because they got punched in the mouth, and now they got to take care of business. And ever since then, they've been taking care of business. Now, Blazers fans are going to be like, oh, but they had this many free throws in game 3 and all that blah, blah, blah. I really don't want to hear it right now. I really don't want to hear it. You want to blame the free throws, but stop fouling and play defense. And I said from the beginning that the absence of Trevor Ariza was going to be a problem for the Portland Trail Blazers. Besides that, you don't have Rodney Hood. You don't have Trevor Ariza. You lost Zach Collins to a season-ending injury. You had no match for the Lakers. You had no match for the Lakers. The Lakers played the best defense against the Blazers, and they held them under 40% shooting. They held them to under 40% shooting. The Lakers came up with a beautiful game plan to make sure Dame had to let go of the ball. And speaking of Damian Lillard, I actually felt sorry for Dame because he injured his right knee, and I've suffered from right knee injury before. Sorry for the stutter. I've suffered from that kind of pain before, and that shit hurts like all hell. Hopefully the X-rays come back negative. That he had to get a second MRI. Who knows what's going to go on, if he can even play Game 5. I hope he can, because I would really hate that he has to miss Game 5. I never doubted that the Lakers were going to win this series, but the fact and the audacity that people actually thought that the Blazers were going to take out the Lakers in the first round, or that this series was going to go 7, I never had a doubt in my mind, and I've said the Lakers in 5. I heard other people saying Lakers in 4 and all that. I had Lakers in 5. I said Portland was going to take one game, but I really thought it was either going to be Game 3 or Game 4. I didn't think it was going to be Game 1. But I'm kind of glad the Lakers got punched in the mouth early. They're taking care of business. They just straight decimated the Blazers. That they just had no fight left in them. And I think it's just now getting to them that they've had to play too many games where their season was on the line, and now it's just too much now. How you went from fighting every game in the bubble to coming into the first round. You wanted this matchup. This is the craziest part about it. You wanted this matchup with the Lakers. You thought that you could take out the Lakers. Like, come on, bro. Who wasn't hearing Terry Stotts talking about that they think that they could beat the Lakers? Who didn't hear Damian Lillard saying he wanted to smoke with the Lakers? Like, come on, man. And then you come out, win game one, and I heard so much exaggeration coming from the media, whether it's ESPN, FS1, whatever sports radio show you've been hearing. I understand the Lakers lost game one, but if you paid attention to the final score, they only lost by 7 points. And it took the Blazers one great, amazing quarter to win that fourth quarter of the game. Like, were the Lakers sluggish in game one? Hell yes. But ever since then, they've been outscoring the Blazers throughout the entire series. Like, come on, man. Like, you really thought for one second, that the Blazers were gonna knock out the Lakers? No, I didn't think so. And now people I'm hearing this new narrative saying that they were never truly a great matchup for the Lakers. Oh, now they're not a great matchup, right? Because you saw the beatdown of a century in last night's game. Like, I couldn't, man. I really couldn't. Like, I was really out. Like, I don't mean to be messed up, but I was laughing during last night's game. I was really laughing because I was like, this is the team that said that they were going to take out the Lakers. This is the team. You actually had delusional people betting insane money on the Blazers. Like, I know people that bet an insane amount of money on the Blazers to win the series. Well, whoever you made a bet to, you better pay up because you just lost very badly. But like I said, yeah, I hope Damian Lillard, I hope he could play Game 5. I don't want him to have to miss out. I want him to play Game 5. I want him to play, even if he's not 100%, even if he can't even play the whole game. I would just hate for him to have to miss Game 5 after everything he had to go through to have to even get the Blazers in the playoffs. But yeah, that's about it for this episode. I hope you guys are enjoying the playoffs as much as I am. And what else can I say? I really can't say much now. But yep, that's it. That's all. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell if you like basketball content. This is your boy Jay Varsity, and I am out. Peace.
We got some non-believers out there.
Make believers out of non-believers. Make believers out the overseers. Make them bow